Good morning. Good morning. And welcome on this Lord's Day to our service of worship together. It's good to greet each and every one in the name of Christ, our risen Lord. And if you will take just a moment to sign the attendance registers at the ends of your pews and have a look at the morning bulletin. Which I need. Need to borrow somebody's book. Which I know in my heart already. Just wanted to say thank you to everyone who came out and supported the youth car wash yesterday. We had some hard-working youngins who did a great job. Our Vacation Bible School opens tonight. Will be tonight through Thursday night. Now, Thursday night's the big night where all parents and family members and church members are invited to come. At 6:30 on Thursday night, we'll have our closing ceremony with a beach party out on the lawn. So it's a great time to be had. So thank you to everyone who is working in Bible school this week. And for those of you who are not working, please be in prayer for us, for the young people who will be within our facility tonight. And come on out and join us Thursday night so you can hear about the week and see all that we've been doing. Okay. The World Outreach Committee is in the middle of its summer emphasis on the Smithfield Food Bank and the ministry of the Smithfield Food Bank. We're taking up contributions of non-perishable food items, and there's the exhibit little area in the back of the fellowship hall where you can pick up a bag or just use a grocery bag and bring your contribution in, and we'll make sure that those get to the food pantry by the end of the month. So some bags did go out here in our community this week, and we had several homes, 8 or 10 homes, participate in offering food for us to take to the pantry on their behalf. So thank you to the World Outreach Committee for their work. Okay, the membership committee will meet on Monday, June the 20th at 1. And I believe that is the morning announcements. I'll invite our children to join me on the chancel. Our scripture this morning comes from the book of Daniel, chapter 3, verses 4 through 18. The herald proclaimed aloud, "You are commanded, O peoples, nations, and languages, that when you hear the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, drum, and entire musical ensemble, you are to fall down and worship the golden statue that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. Whoever does not fall down and worship shall immediately be thrown into a furnace of blazing fire." Therefore, as soon as all the peoples heard the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, drum, and entire musical ensemble, all the peoples, nations, and languages fell down and worshiped the golden statue that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Accordingly, at this time, certain Chaldeans came forward and denounced the Jews. They said to King Nebuchadnezzar, "O king, live forever. You, O king, have made a decree that everyone who hears the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, drum, and entire musical ensemble shall fall down and worship the golden statue. And whoever does not fall down and worship shall be thrown into a furnace of blazing fire. There are certain Jews whom you have appointed over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These pay no heed to you, O king. They do not serve your gods, and they do not worship the golden statue that you have set up." Then Nebuchadnezzar, in a furious rage, commanded that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be brought in. So they brought those men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar said to them, "Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods, and you do not worship the golden statue that I have set up? Now if you are ready, when you hear the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, drum, and entire musical ensemble, to fall down and worship the statue that I have made, well and good. But if you do not worship, you shall immediately be thrown into a furnace of blazing fire. And who is the God that will deliver you out of my hands?" Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered the king, "O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to present a defense to you in this matter. If our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the furnace of blazing fire and out of your king, O king, let him deliver us. But if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods, and we will not worship the golden statue that you have set up." And this is the word of God for the people of God. Our God can save us from this fire, and our God will. But if He does not, still, we will not serve or worship any other. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, along with their buddy Daniel, were young graduates straight out of King's College, Babylon. They had been there several years. They were educated for success. They were on the fast track. They had been handpicked, scholarshiped, groomed to step into fast track jobs that would yield high salary and prominence in Mesopotamia Incorporated. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were actually their Babylonian names. Their real names were Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, because they were Hebrews. They had been brought to Babylon as captives from their homeland in order to be assimilated into the glamorous, advanced, and powerful culture of the Babylonian Empire, compared to which Judah must have seemed like the sticks. They had been chosen for this royal education precisely because they were bright and alert and full of promise. They were assigned to the chief eunuch, who was given an unlimited budget for the job of transitioning these fresh, bright kids from the outback into suave and aggressive Babylonian businessmen. Sort of like a university football coach with a recruiting budget that gets sidelined into parties and cars and celebrities. But these young college men wouldn't cooperate. They refused to attend the parties. They refused to smoke the dope or sleep with the sorority sisters. And the chief eunuch was afraid because they were not falling in line with everyone else. But the chief steward covered for them, and the king never found out. That was back in chapter 1, last Sunday's sermon. Now, here in chapter 3, they are young King's College graduates appointed to top positions in Babylonian government. And now there is a new problem. King Nebuchadnezzar, in all of his power, has decided to require a patriotic act of worship of the king. He sets up a golden image of himself and requires everyone to bow before it. Bow and worship, or else be thrown into the fire as an example to everyone else. Sort of like pressures today. If you want to keep this job, you'll do like everybody else is doing. You'll have drinks with the boss, shake the right hands, cozy up to the right people, and if you see something that isn't right, you'll keep your mouth shut. Babylon, I am your king. Take a bow. But Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah are not going to do this. You shall have no other gods before me. What is right is right. And they have enemies. Of course they do. Every person who lives right, works right, and holds to a higher standard will eventually come across someone who resents them just because they do. Just because they do have standards. First they'll try to get you to sink to their level. And when you won't, then they'll look for opportunities to stab you in the back. And that's exactly what happened to our 3 Babylonian boys, Hebrew boys. O king, may you live forever. You said anyone who wouldn't worship your statue will be kicked into the furnace, and those guys over there, those 3 Jews, they aren't doing it. Nebuchadnezzar, is this true? You better get at it, because if you don't, I'm going to cast you in. And what God anywhere can deliver you from me? Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, our God can. Our God can and will. But if not, even if He doesn't deliver us. We will die worshiping you, Him, our God, before we bow down to you, Nebuchadnezzar. What an amazing statement of faith. This is a very basic statement of ultimate trust in God for God's own sake. A statement so radical as to make other statements look conditional, self-serving, and sort of half-baked. This is no Jacob. If you will take care of me and bring me to my father's house, then I will worship and be loyal to you. This is no PTL club. See all these prayer requests answered? Send us your money and your prayer requests will be answered too. This is the raw faith of Job. Lord, even though you slay me, yet will I serve you. This is the bottom line faith of the three young men. God is God, whether God chooses to intervene in human life or not. God is worthy to be praised unconditionally, and it is infinitely better to die praising the living God than to live praising an idol, a false image, a God we project into being based on what we want God to be, a God at our beck and call. Our God can deliver us from this fire, but even if He doesn't, we will still worship only Him. Our God can deliver us from cancer, from birth defects, from pain, but even if He doesn't, we will still worship Him. Our God can deliver us from mental illness, from depression, from the death of our children. But even if He doesn't, we will still worship only Him. Our God can deliver us from our own mistakes, from traffic accident, from bankruptcy, from divorce. But even if He doesn't, He alone will we serve. For you see, ultimately, the story of the three young men facing the fiery furnace is not a story of glory. It is a story of the cross. It is the story of a God who requires us that we pick up our cross and follow Him, complete with all of the pain that we face and the lessons that we learn and the witness that we make when we are in the fire. The promise is we are not in that fire ever alone. And in this world or in the next, we will emerge from it victorious. I don't suppose in our country today there is anyone so crass as to set up an idol and demand that we worship it. Our idols come to us in much more subtle ways. Things that worm their way into our hearts under the guise of being compatible with God. You can have God and you can have this too. Things like substance abuse. Fine, no harm done until you realize you want it so badly and your body demands it so much that you are willing to do anything to get it. Your substance of choice has become your God, and it has full control over you, and it is a jealous and demanding God. And there are other strange idols competing for our lives. The idea that we can indulge ourselves with houses and cars and trips and fine clothes while our level of service and concern for the community in which we live gets smaller and less and less. The idea that we can take the line of least resistance in raising our children, give in without a fight when confronted with the always spoken, but everybody else is doing it. The idea that we can give up the disciplines of reading and thinking and staying politically aware for night after night in front of Jeopardy and HGTV or PlayStation or Netflix. The very strange idea that the end justifies the means in relation to graduation or marriage or money or any myriad of other aspects of our lives. My God will save us. But if not, no matter how hard the road gets, no matter how difficult the suffering or how much we want to fit in with everybody else, no matter how much sacrifice is required of us, we will not give up, cave in, or compromise. We will not bow to worship anything less than the Most High God. The story of the three young men is a story that challenges us to lift high the cross. Not because we are promised an easy life, prosperity, or any kind of worldly success if we do, but because God alone is worthy of worship for His own sake. God alone keeps His promises in the way that is best for us, and God alone can and vindicate the cause of His people. For those of us who believe this, for those of us who stand with Hananiah and Mishael and Azariah, there is no fire too hot, no road too long, no suffering too intense, no sacrifice too great, no intellectual argument so convincing to make us turn away and bow to a lesser power. For truly it is, as Nebuchadnezzar himself was forced to admit when the three boys were thrown in and walked back out of the fire. There is no other God who is able to deliver in this way. Your fire may be burning now. Your fire of grief, your disease, your suffering, the fire in your heart caused by the pain of watching helplessly while someone you love self-destructs. Your fire of determination to do the right thing no matter what the cost, even if it means you don't fit in with everyone else. Take heart, my dear friends. You will come out on the other side. And just like Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, when they walked out of the fire, safe in God's grace, we won't even smell like smoke. Thanks be to God this Lord's day. Amen.